Well, we have really good veterans. They don't get rattled.
That was one of the points of emphasis that we showed on the film. Toppin gets probably 1 or 2 leak outs a game, so we know he's a contestant fly guy. If you're not involved in the action, we want that weak side sprint back in transition. I mentioned before the game they're playing with much more pace, and that's a way to get him going in the game. So we showed that specifically on the tape before the game, him leaking out, and it did hurt us a few times. Some were turnover based, but then some were, just missed shots, us not getting back in transition.
Hey, welcome back. November 1st. Welcome to the new month here. And yeah, that's one of the things we're going to have to watch for when we play tonight is this is a challenging team. This is a playoff team. This is a team that has the established veteran presence that we're looking to develop. And like Tibbs said, they're cool under pressure. You're not going to mess with them. So why don't we take a look at their roster right away and get right into it? Because one of the things we're going to have to watch for is those leak outs. From Toppin. That's one of the things I covered in my Celtics preview that the Celtics were vulnerable to and the Knicks really abused them with. So we need to watch for that. Our team needs to be getting back on defense, which is, the reason I mention it right in the intro, tricky for us because we're crashing the boards. So if Toppin's able to do that or the Knicks are able to do that once or twice in the game, no big deal. That's 4 points. But if we routinely let it happen, they can do to us what they did to the Celtics. So we need to be ready for that strategy. We're going to break down some other strategies and talk about how the Knicks have become 5-1 in a moment. We'll also talk about their roster. But first, I would just want to remind all of you, if you enjoyed that Magic game the other night and you went into that game thinking this is a sure thing, the Raptors are going to go 500. Like I said, we could easily lose that game beforehand. If you did not check out the video, the Magic are one of the most interesting teams in the league. And the video I did on Jeff Weltman's stables in Orlando is super interesting about all these young guys, and it definitely dispels some rumors that you're going to hear this year about let's just go get Mo Bamba for an old used car. So anyway, take a look at that because this video shows that teams like Cleveland, Orlando, Detroit, these are not gimme games anymore. Any ESPN thing that you're watching or YouTube thing that you're watching saying there's gimme games for the Raptors this year is absolute horseshit. So go check out the Weltman Studios video. So how do we shut down the Knicks? First, let's take a look at the Knicks roster and see what Tibbs means by all these veterans that are there. We start off with Julius Randle. He's kind of like what everything runs through. So Randle they run the offense through him. So they'll bring the ball in with Randle. They'll drive and kick a lot, often with Randle. They'll force double teams, and what they actually look for is 3-pointers. We'll talk about that in a moment, but they have veteran presence to back Randle up, and all of them can shoot from mid-range. As I said in my Chicago Bulls analysis for pregame, we are susceptible to mid-range shots. Why? Because Moneyball Analytics says 3-point shooting and getting in the paint is the way to go. Well, guess what? Now that all NBA teams are scheming for that, teams are realizing that the shots that are open are now mid-range shots. It's why the Bulls did such a good job going out and getting players like DeRozan. Everyone was like, oh, now they got all the mid-range shooters. That's not going to help them. Guess what? NBA defenses are susceptible to mid-range shots now. Okay, so mid-range is going to be back in, mark my words. They got Evan Fournier came through the Celtics to obviously the Knicks. Derrick Rose, veteran again. Kemba Walker. So these guys have been tearing it up, and they're who Tibbs is talking about. These guys are solid. They're going to contribute no matter what, and we need to be able to get out to the line and shut them down. Now, the nice thing is with our defense that's driven on turnovers, we're able to clog the lanes on these guys and really disrupt their lanes. We should see a lot of turnovers because the Knicks are a dribble drive team. Mark my words, though. They will dribble up until the paint and stop. Step back and shoot off. The next veteran that we need to look at is Taj Gibson, and then also back from injury, Nerlens Noel. So Tibbs loves his defensive paint cloggers, okay? So his bigs are youngster Mitchell Robinson, who's playing amazing. He's a block machine, but his mentors on the team are Nerlens Noel, who had a fantastic year last year, and Taj Gibson. Taj and Nerlens are two of Tibbs' favorite guys on the team. They're just like blue-collar guys that clog the paint. They're going to give Scotty a hard time tonight. Between Mitch Robinson, Toppin, Nerlens, and Taj, it's going to be difficult to clog that paint. Knicks are a great defensive team. They're built on defense. That's what Coach Tibbs is all about. In addition, we got the top and leakouts. Emmanuel Quickly's coming along. Haven't seen much of Quentin Grimes this year or Miles McBride. The Knicks get key contributions from Alec Burke and the guy we haven't mentioned yet, Canada's own, RJ Barrett. And here's what Tibbs has to say about RJ Barrett.
The thing that I like about both he and Mitch is their age and their work ethic. And RJ he's a great work capacity. He wants to be good. It's important to him. He's very coachable. He's a great teammate. And when you see how he approaches things, he has toughness, he has basketball IQ, and he has competitiveness. And when you have those three things to go along with your talent, you usually improve.
All right, so now we've seen what the roster looks like. Now let's take a look at how the Knicks got to 5-1. So they're 5-1. Let's take a look how they got there. On the road, they are currently 3-0. So they had a double overtime win against the Celtics. Then they smoked the Magic in Orlando. But then, just like us, they slept on that same Orlando Magic team and they got beat in Madison Square Gardens. And this game is going to be key for talking about how we beat these guys. So we're going to take a look at how we beat them using the Magic's own strategy. All right? So we are going to learn from the youngsters in Orlando, okay, and what they did to scheme against them. All right? And that's Jamal Mosley coming up and getting those youngsters in Orlando to do what they almost did to us. They did it to the Knicks last Sunday. So then they played the Sixers. I'm not going to take a look at this game because they smoked the Sixers. We'll take a look at that game when we play the Sixers. And then they played the Bulls. This is an important game for us to look at a little bit because the Bulls play the same style of defense as us, all right? So we'll take a look at the Bulls. And then finally, we'll take a look at the New Orleans Pelicans. So let's start with that Boston game. So double overtime, the Knicks schemed to shut down the best players. So expect OG to see a lot of disruption to his game, Freddie to get doubled, and expect Scotty to not much have paint to operate in. Expect those Knicks big men to be in there. So what they did is they let Brown go off, and they shut down Tatum. The Knicks themselves, I just want you to pay attention to Randle's points here. So Randle is, again, the motor. And if you try and shut down Randle with double teams, he's going to kick out, okay? And it leaves you susceptible to three-pointers and dribble drives from other players. In the Bulls game, we had a great push, and the Bulls pushed in the fourth quarter. But look what happened. The Bulls schemed like we would normally do to play like boxes and ones and stuff like that and shut down Randle. Well, look what happened. They got key contributions from Barrett, Kemba, Rose. Look at the three-point shooting. Kemba's 5 for 6 from 3. Whereas the Knicks, they allowed the Bulls to get pretty even scoring, okay? And that's important to note. So the Knicks are looking to play team defense, and they're just looking to play straight up. They're going to get out on every three. They're going to play solid Tom Thibodeau defense. They might focus on a guy like OG or Fred VanVleet. I think they're going to focus on Scotty's drives into the paint. The other night against the Pelicans, same thing. It's just like the Bulls game. They shut down Randle, 10 points, but look at Barrett, 35 points. Look at the contributors, Fournier, Kemba, Taj, Alec Burks. They got into the paint with these guys, and look at the three-point shooting. Kemba, 4 for 7, 5 for 8, 2 for 2 Randle for 3, and Barrett, 6 for 8. They allowed Valanciunas to go crazy in the paint here. They let Valanciunas go off, and they decided they would live with that kind of thing. They would live with Valanciunas scoring on them. Now, what did the Magic do differently? And here's what's so interesting. The only loss they got this season, Jamal Mosley, coach of the Magic, does this instead. I'll skip past the Magic score. Oh, we'll look at the Magic scorers. Here's how they scored on them. Cole Anthony had a great game, just like he did against us. And Ross, look where those shots are coming from. Anthony's 5 for 9 from 3. So Freddie could have a huge game tonight. Our shooters, Gary Trent Jr., could have a huge game tonight. Okay? And they got lots of clean attempts. Look at the misses, okay? Look at the misses from 3. They shot tons of threes. What this did was it forced the Knicks to get out and challenge the line, and then it opened up the paint. That's why in the fourth quarter, look at this. In the summary, look at the fourth. the Magic go off in the fourth. So they keep it close, and then they go off in the fourth, and they start attacking the paint. And in the box score, the Magic did not even scheme to shut down Randle. They let Randle get his points, but he's a -1. So we need to do the same thing. We need to play Randle straight up with either OG, Scotty. We don't have Pascal yet, but one of our guys that can one-on-one, so OG or Barnes on him all the time, all night long, playing solid defense on Randle. Make Randle kick the ball around, because if we double team, that's when Derrick Rose, that's when Kemba, that's when Fournier, that's when all these guys become open for their threes, like Barrett, like we saw in this Pelicans game. So that's what I think we need to do tonight, guys. Play Randle straight up, get out to contest threes. We need to make sure that if we're crashing the glass, we keep an eye on guys like Toppin leaking out. If we do all those things and play a solid 48 minutes, this is a real test against a playoff team. If we can do all of that, we'll be in fine shape against these guys. I know there's tons of highlights online of the last couple games that we played, but what I find I hate about highlights is they only show the offensive scores. I'm putting together a bit of a montage of why I think we're winning games right now, and it has nothing to do with offense from my perspective. It has to do with other things that are very, very, very big factors for our team right now. So look forward to that. I'll have it out in the next few days. I'm probably not going to do too many game previews because I'm busy with work, but look for that other video. And don't forget about the jersey drive. You can find instructions for that if you go back to the Pacers preview. It's within that video. Anyway, guys, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the game tonight. And don't forget, it is all about the Larrys. Kawhi, I made the coffee, and now you're going to drink all of it? Come on, dude. At least give me a cup.
I don't even know where you're sitting at.
That's bullshit, Kawhi. Your laugh is
This
stupid.
is Chef's Kiss approved. Mwah!